Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to a little village outside Kristianstad called Untappd here in Skåne in southern Sweden, and we're going to do a review from a brewery who I've never tried anything from. So this one is Klackabackens Bryggeri, quite an unusual one to say if you're not a native Swedish speaker, and this one is their American wheat, which comes in at 4.6%, so it should be quite nice. This was a brewery that I just kind of found randomly when I was scrolling through Kristianstad's website, and I thought, why not give it a try? So hopefully it's going to be quite a nice beer. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I could do from Klackabackens Bryggeri. As I said, this is the very first time I'm trying one of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you before, and that's always being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is always hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Klackabackens Bryggeri then. So this company was founded by three childhood friends. This was Kristianstad, Marcus Lundmark, and also Olaf Olsen. And the trio went on holiday to the US back in 2011 for a road trip, and they decided after trying a lot of different beers there that it would be fun to start brewing for themselves. But Christopher had actually worked previously for the Aquavit in New York, which I believe is a bar if I'm not mistaken, and also for the brew pub Apollo over in Copenhagen. But when they returned to Denmark, they set up a small brewery in a converted 18th century farmhouse in Skåne, which is just a little bit to the southwest, I guess you would say, of Kristianstad, and they began their test brews, officially founding the brewery in 2012, but the beers had been perfected by February of 2013, and then they were released. And they also set up a brew pub at this site sometime in 2014. I think it was maybe also February. It didn't really say in the article, but they set up the brew pub sometime in 2014. But since foundation, brewer Marcus Anahelt has also become a partner in the company, and they've expanded and employed a few more people in things like marketing and production and all of this sort of thing. But they actually built a new brewery in Untappd, which is a little bit to the north of the previous one, and again to the west of Kristianstad. But this now gives them a capacity of 135,000 litres of beer per year, and they hope to expand this up to 500,000 litres within a few years. So another brewery that's come along and are kind of doing quite well and expanding for it. But it's kind of unusual. This is one of the things about Sweden I find a little bit unusual is I'm down in Lund, and you actually can't get this beer even though it's from the same province or state. No, province is probably more correct in Sweden, or the same county, but you actually can't find this beer here in Lund. I've not seen it in Malmö either available, so it's quite unusual, and that just kind of shows you one of the things. It is a very local brewery, although it did say in the article I read they're exporting to Norway, Denmark and Germany as well actually, and there was apparently interest coming in Finland. But it's quite unusual that I couldn't actually get this beer in the shop in Lund. I did have to order this one on the mail order service from Kristianstad, but they do seem to be expanding. They've got quite a few different beers as well. They've got the original, they've got the Pilsner, the IPA, the Paleo, the What the Duck, which is a porter beer, the Session IPA, and also the light beer. They've also got a Julula Christmas beer, a winter lager, and they've also got the Twisted series. They had a raspberry Berliner Weiss in that one, and they also had a mango beer if I remember correctly as well. So that Twisted series is going to continue, and they're experimenting with fruit beers and stuff like that. So they're doing some interesting stuff. Even though they're quite young, they are experimenting, which is always a good sign. But that's enough about the brewery just now. As I say, if you want to check out more, you can have a look at the brewery website in the description for yourself. So yeah, we'll get on to the tasting of this beer now then. So as I said to you, this one is a 4.6% wheat beer. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one if I can find my cursor. There we are. As you can see, it's got quite an unusual artwork on it, this one. It's got a bald eagle, a woman with a bald eagle's head, I think. So yeah, it says 2012 there. As you can see, Klackabacken. Klackabacken, incidentally, Baken is hill in Swedish, if I've pronounced that correctly, and Klacken is like the heel. I'm not sure if that's a specific term for geography and things like that, or if it literally means like it's the same idea as the heel on your foot or something like this. I couldn't really figure that out from the translation. Native Swedish people will know, of course. But yeah, it says best before the 27th of the 12th, 2017, so should be quite a nice one. There's the Klackabackens bottle cap on this one. So yeah, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. I'm definitely looking forward to this. It should be really nice. So yeah, as you can see, oh, smoky opening on this one, a little bit of carbonation. I thought that was actually going to go over the top there, but we'll get it out and into the glass. And you can smell a little bit of kind of tropically fruit coming off this as we pour it out. There's a bit of sediment visible at the bottom there, so we'll try it without the sediment first and then we'll put the sediment in and see how that changes the taste. But yeah, as you can see, it's actually poured more like a Helles beer rather than a wheat beer. It does look more like a Helles beer. It's not quite as cloudy as you'd think, but maybe it's just the sediment at the bottom of the bottle there. But as you can see, it's a really nice kind of pale golden straw yellow colour. There's a finger and a half of a frothy white head on this one. It really does smell kind of tropical and fruity. It's sort of peaches and apricots I'm getting out of this one actually, just from moving it around, but we'll look at that more closely in a minute. But there's quite a bit of carbonation visible, and it's a lot of little bubbles just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. It does look very, very nice. So yeah, you can see a bit of transparency to the beer, so let's have a closer look at the aroma then. Oh yeah, there's citra hops in that. There is definitely citra hops in that. Yeah, you can smell the citra hop on this beer right away. Yeah, you've got these kind of typical sort of lighter tropical notes in there. I do wonder, maybe there's a little bit of Simcoe in there as well. I'm getting like a wee bit of passion fruit from this one, but there's definitely, almost definitely citra hops in this one. There's a little bit of mango underneath that, and you can pick up the sort of peachy apricot kind of thing, a bit of lychees and the sort of gooseberry, you know, these typical kind of lighter citra notes. If you've tried citra single hop beers and stuff, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This beer definitely has citra hops in it. I'm pretty sure of that. The other one that it could be, of course, is Mosaic, but I think, you know, with the sort of lychee and gooseberry notes you're getting out of this one, they do tend to kind of signify more of the citra, and from what I remember, the Mosaic does tend to have quite a kind of tangerine orange to it. And I don't think this beer really is orangey. This is more tropical than anything, but of course there's a little bit of kind of floral and grassy character to this beer. And if you take a deeper smell of it, of course, you can get some of these, like the kind of big bready character, the sort of wheaty, the smooth wheaty notes that you expect. There's a little bit of an almost kind of banana-y or bubblegum note to it, but definitely it leans more towards the fruity side of things. The grassy and floral aspect to it is nice. But just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you try it. I'm certain that there's citra hops in here. It really does smell like that. I'm pretty sure they've added some citra to this beer. It smells lovely. Just enjoy the aroma of this one. I always say that. Enjoying the aroma of the beer is half of the experience before you actually try it. But yeah, we'll get stuck into this beer now. So this one is the American wheat from Klackabackens Bryggeri from Untappd near Kristianstad here in Skåne, southern Sweden. Skål. That's pretty nice. It's actually a lot lighter and kind of drinkable than I was expecting. But then again, if it's an American wheat rather than a German Weizen, of course, that is something that you would expect. And you can see there, you see the difference in the colour. When I've just poured the last of that in, it's certainly got a lot darker and a lot more hazy than it was before. Yeah, no, absolutely, it's a lot more hazy now than it was before, so we'll see what that does to the flavour. Yeah, that gives it just a little bit more body. That's quite interesting. I mean, there's one thing I always say about wheat beers. I almost treat them in the same way that I would like a stout or a porter or something like that. For me, they're taster beers. I don't really session wheat beers. I just find them a little bit heavier and I always feel really full after I have a wheat beer. But this one is certainly a bit lighter than that. And you could certainly have a couple of these. But this is nice. This is pretty good, this one. And it has a different mouthfeel from what you'd normally expect from a Weizen beer or a wheat beer or something like that. It's just that little bit lighter and nice and sessionable. So as you'd expect from this one, the malt base is just as you would expect for a wheat beer. You've got some bready, you've got some kind of pale malt characters, almost like Pils malt, just kind of underpinning this one. I think it did actually say on the website that it had Pils malt, but you can feel that light kind of pale malt character just underpinning the beer. On top of that though, you've got a thicker sort of white bready thing, you've got some of the wheaty smoothness in there. I do think there's a little bit of an almost biscuity kind of character coming out of this one as well. Yeah, I think there's definitely a little bit of biscuity character in there. You can feel it right in the middle of your palate. There's just this tiny little bit of slightly grainy but quite sweet, sort of biscuity, syrupy character. It's really nicely done, that. I do wonder that if they have put biscuit malt in there, because it is nice. But the hoppy side of things is interesting too. I think definitely, again from the flavour, I think there's citra hop in here. So at the back corner of the palate, and as you come further forward, it's quite floral and quite aromatic. It's not pine resinous. For me, it's definitely floral, and that kind of fades out a little bit as you come further forward. As you go round the front curve of your palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, which again is what you expect from a citra hop. And the fruity aspect of the beer is really quite nice as well. So if you just go behind that front curve of the palate and you just pay attention to that little oily bubble, that's where all the fruity esters are going to come out in the beer. There's a bit of citrusy character to this one, definitely. You can feel just a little bit of citrusy character underpinning that. I think there's a bit of kind of passion fruit in there. Just kind of, you feel that little oily passion fruit, but there's also mangoes. I can definitely pick up a bit of mango in this beer as well. And then as you progress further into the aftertaste, it's these lighter notes from the citra hop that are coming out. Yeah, I would stick with that. You know, it's got a little bit, there's definitely sort of lychee, and then as you go further on into the flavour, I can start to get a little bit of the kind of gooseberry and not quite, maybe even a little bit limey, not so much lemon, more of a kind of limey character. It's sort of lychees, kind of gooseberries and lemon, I think, or lime, sorry, that's coming out of this one. It's not lemon, definitely not lemon, but there's a sort of kind of peachy or apricot-y flavour to this one as well, somewhere in the middle. But it starts off, as I say, with mangoes and passion fruit, definitely. Then it progresses and you get the slightly kind of lychees and sort of gooseberry flavours and a bit of the limey character, you know, those lighter tropical fruits that we would expect of the citra hop. I'm almost certain they've put citra in this, which, you know, wouldn't be surprising because it is quite a popular hop, of course. But this is nicely done. You know, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this beer again. So if you like your wheat beers to be a bit lighter and more sessionable, and, you know, kind of, if you like them to be a bit more kind of hoppy and just almost like IPA in character, then this is a wheat beer I think you are going to enjoy. For me, this one's nicely done, and it's interesting because, as I say, I always find the German wheat beers like Weihenstephan and all of these kind of things, I can only really drink one of them because I find them quite heavy. But I love having them every so often. But for me, this one is something that you could actually drink instead of an IPA. It's almost kind of, it's somewhere in between the Weizen and a full-on white IPA. It's somewhere in the middle of that, and they've kind of covered that territory with it quite well. I think that's a fair assessment of this beer, is to say it's somewhere in the middle of a Hefeweizen, a German Hefeweizen, and a sort of American style white IPA. It's kind of got the middle ground in between those two styles, but for me it's a nice, quite easy drinking beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say it's mid-bodied. The carbonation on this one, it does have a little bit of a prickle, it's kind of moderate. The mouthfeel on this one is more smooth rather than oily. Yeah, definitely more, it's more of a smooth mouthfeel, this one, than oily. Of course, there's a bit of hoppy bitterness there. The malt base is very smooth. It's got a little bit of sweetness on it, right enough, and there's some juicy fruity character just coming out on the end of this beer. But like I said, overall, for me it's quite nice. You know, when I've looked out on Rate Beer earlier, it was rated at 44 overall and 77 within the style. For me, that rating isn't right for this beer. This beer should be probably in the 80s, probably in the lower side of the 80s when it comes to Rate Beer, I would think. Because I can see within the style, within the sort of wheat beer style or Weizen style, it doesn't really fit into the sort of category. But it was odd because it had 44 overall but 77 within the styles. But for me, that's a ridiculously low rating for this beer. It should have more than that. And this is one of the occasions where I always say Rate Beer is a good barometer for checking out how good a beer is. But in this case, for me, Rate Beer has it wrong. This is a nice, quite sessionable wheat beer, as I say, somewhere between the Weizen, the German Weizen, and the American white IPA. It's really quite nicely done, and I do like the way that the fruity characters comes out. So if you like a wheat beer that's got a little bit of the kind of American hoppy fruit in it, I think this is one that you definitely are going to enjoy. So yeah, this is a beer that if you like those styles, like I say, do check it out. But I've enjoyed this one. Do check out some of the beers from Klackabackens Bryggeri if you get the chance. Hopefully I can get a hold of some of the other ones. When I checked out the brewery's website, there were quite a few of them actually that they said they were stopping for the moment, redesigning the recipe and re-releasing. So hopefully it's not too long before I can review one of these for you again. I've enjoyed this one and it certainly makes me want to try some of their beers. So if you get the chance to order these beers in, definitely do. But I'm not sure where exactly you're going to be able to find a bottle of this to have a look at, because they are, as I say, they are quite a local operation. But yeah, the American wheat from Klackabackens Bryggeri in Untappd near Kristianstad here in Sweden. So as always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Do let me know some other beers from and breweries from Skåne that I should be having a look at. I know there's quite a few that I probably haven't even heard of myself here in Lund. But this was a really nice beer and I'm glad that I got to try it. So make sure you try some of these Klackabackens beers if you get the chance. Until the next time, slange just now and have a go at this beer and brewery if you get the chance. Skåne.